Hey, I'm Leah Dubs and I'm a writer. That's it. So I've really been feeling J. Cole's most recent album, Might Delete Later. There's been a lot going on in the rap community right now. We have this massive beef brewing. J. Cole was a part of that until he apologized publicly, and everyone is really upset about this apology. I thought that the apology was brilliant, and I want to spend a little time talking about why I feel this way because I'm inspired by his apology. I want to talk about the J. Cole apology as it relates to his music, his career, and specifically this most recent album that he dropped in April of early this year called Might Delete Later. So a few days ago, I saw a short where rapper A$AP Rocky was being interviewed by a young woman who was confronting him about his misogynistic lyrics, to which he confirmed that yes, his lyrics are misogynistic, or they can be misogynistic, but he also made a point to say, I speak about men in this same way. And I really loved the way A$AP Rocky responded to this woman who was antagonizing him with her questions about his music. He said that it's not my job to give you a speech on the difference between a bitch and a woman. I just rap about my life. I just rap about my experiences. And that was a really important thing to say, I feel like, because a lot of times we wrap our own morality into musical artists, not just rappers, but musical artists in general. We tend to wrap our own morality in these people's actions outside of their music. In reality, we do not know these people. That is a fact. It is an absolute fact. Me sitting here talking about J. Cole's album, really vibing with his introspection and his place in life is just what I'm getting out of what he produces as a professional rapper. I do not know him. It's not really fair to the artist to be putting our judgment on them, putting our own moral codes onto people we don't know.
We really got enough problems as it is.
We struggle every day with all the amenities. We got plenty work to do on ourselves, especially now in these times where there's so much hate coming from all kinds of people for all kinds of reasons. I just want to do my part and just appreciate this beautiful body of work because I thought Might Delete Later was such an inspired piece of work. I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes talking about what I loved about it and how the apology even made me love the album even more. So just a really brief synopsis of the beef because we've heard it all before. I'm gonna go super quick.
So, Kendrick Lamar was featured on a song called Like That off of a collab album with Future and Metro Boomin entitled We Don't Trust You. Kendrick Lamar's verse, he dissed J. Cole
and Drake. Almost forgot how.
The one line that stuck out as the moment, the pearl clutching moment, was when Kendrick Lamar said, fuck the big three, it's just big me.
There were jabs between the three artists towards each other before this particular song came out, but for some reason, this song is kind of what brought the beef to the forefront, where now artists are being pressured to respond directly to this verse. J. Cole responded to this diss by releasing a surprise album, Might Delete Later, on April 4th. The song was entitled 7 Minute Drill. It was the last song on the album. I listened to the song. I thought it was great. I also, and just looking at other people's opinions on the beef, I really respected one particular viewpoint that beefs are good because they really challenge artists and bring out the best in them. And I think that this beef is doing that. It's bringing out the best in everybody, and it is bringing out the best in Cole because he apologized. That to me was bringing out the best in him, really challenging him as an artist. I believe that J. Cole responded in his way. I loved his apology. I loved his album. I just love how the whole thing turned out. I think it is just really artistic and just so beautiful from top to bottom. The album is literally entitled Might Delete Later. So this is sort of a teaser for this album that he is planning to drop called The Fall Off. So right away, when I saw the title and I looked at the album cover, right away thought, okay, this is something that's probably going to be experimental. It's probably going to be different than what we're listening to. And I did feel like it was different. The sound was heavier. I even felt like his voice was different. Maybe it was just me. I'm really interested to hear what other people thought about it. It sounded a little bit darker, a little bit more serious compared to what I heard in the past. The overall theme of the album seemed to be one of a place of enlightenment or acceptance, true self-love and confidence. He seems to claim to be in a very open place, a new place. Sort of God mode for any artist would be complete self-acceptance and complete self-expression. He seems like he's in that area from what I heard. The first track is Pricey featuring Ari Lennox, Young Dro, and Gucci Mane. And at the end, Gucci Mane says, trials and tribulation of creation. It's a quiet theme of those in dire need of elevation. 1 minute infatuation. Next minute hating every statement you making. Constant contemplation. So this is setting up the tone for this artistic process of not all, just putting yourself out there, taking a chance and being vulnerable so that maybe someone could learn something from you, or maybe you could even absolve yourself of your sins by being vulnerable and being open and maybe possibly willing to learn. It sets the tone for this album that's probably going to be deeply introspective. As a starving artist myself, I found it very inspiring to hear those messages and know like, oh, this is part of it. This up and down, this up and down. Often we see successful artists, but we don't realize that they've been through this process. And that process is awfully hard sometimes. And it's dark. We should give these people the respect of appreciating the hard work that they do. They're putting that work out for us to enjoy. And not necessarily spending so much time criticizing who we think they should be because we don't know them, or for who we think they are because we don't know them. Second song, Crocodile Tears. The song starts out right away. I'm pied up. That's my southern accent rapper voice. You like it? Pied up. I'm pied up. He's powered up. Okay, feels unstoppable, super confident. That same thing running through the music. Even his voice sounded less giving a fuck. And this is classic J. Cole. He's always kind of had that vibe, like he's not really impressed by the glitz and the glams of fame and more just wants to just do his own thing and be a good person in this world. It seems to be like a common theme throughout his music. My favorite album of J. Cole is Born Sinner, and that's a lot of that constant contemplation, that back and forth, and he wants to be a good person and he's real low-key, not really wanting to be swept away by the distractions of life. Ready 24, again, more confidence in the beginning when he's saying there's nobody better than me on this planet. I mean, he's like using strong language. He sounds really just bold and unapologetic when he's saying things like that, and he has this voice about it. Same thing, Hunting Rabbits. There's a bar in there where he says, I just want to kick back, take trips, make hits. So, he's not worried. J. Cole is not worried. I mean, at this point, he's just like, I'm that dude, and it is what it is, and I just want to be that dude. That's the thing. We're worried because we want to put our moral code and make him do things, hold him to a moral standard that we can't even hold ourselves to. We're worried. He's not worried. Okay? He's chilling. He's doing him, and he's happy to be in this place to be confident enough to do him. That's what it sounds like to me on the album. Again, I don't know him, and it's just fun to just go through this because this is him displaying some sort of vulnerability. So it's fun to sit here and dissect these things and think about what we can learn from them maybe. But this is just from what I'm seeing in the music. These are bars that I'm reading. Song number 5, HYB. In this song, he says, you know, I keep forgetting I'm J. Cole. I feel like a regular ninja. I just got a very irregular bankroll. And again, he's just talking about him feeling like a regular person. He's not a guy to be on his pedestal, not a person with a lot of pride. Common theme throughout all of his music, but here it's just really condensed and is just said in a more bold way. So he's really like understanding, in this place of understanding who he is and accepting who he is. The next few songs, Fever, Sticks and Stones, and Pie, it slows down a little bit. Songs are a little bit lighter and it's more fun. I like that vibe for sure. One thing that I want to mention that's crazy to me is because when I think about this album, he is writing this before this beef even happens. So he didn't just hear the diss and then just go write this whole album. He's already done this and gone through this work of writing these songs and recording them. It's interesting to think about that. Like, this is where he claims to be in his life. And then he puts this song on there. I mean, it's called Might Delete Later. So maybe he's being a little bit more vulnerable than he's used to being. Maybe he's experimenting with a new sound or just kind of more having fun with it and not really worrying about creating a piece of work that people will like. Who knows why he named it that. But it is interesting that he named it Might Delete Later. And then this last diss track was thrown on at the end. On track number 9, Stealth Mode, he says, I've been considering extending an olive branch, building bridges with ninjas that burn them, like life's too short to hold on to things. That sounds like the type of guy who is going to do the right thing and apologize if he felt like he was wrong, just like we learned in kindergarten. Now, whether or not the apology was right or wrong, I don't know. I'm not a rapper. I don't know Kendrick. I don't know how I would feel. I don't know. I don't know the culture of what it's like amongst them. I don't know what their relationship is like, what disses are acceptable and not acceptable. There's so much I don't know. I don't think anybody can say whether or not he should have apologized. That's another subject to talk about. Maybe at the dinner table with your friends. I have my own opinions about it. But as it relates to his album, it's perfect. This Might Delete Later album with this song on the back end that really didn't fit, right, with everything that he put on before the album. And then the apology, to me, is what makes the most sense to happen as a part of this beef. And therefore, he has done his thing in this beef too. To me, it's just like, wow, he has really done some soul searching and is really sharing these things and is really out here trying to live what he raps. And not a lot of rappers do that, which is okay. Not every rapper has to be that way. You could rap about anything you like. We should be looking at this as part of his professional art career. And it gets an A. It's an A+. Now, what was really interesting to me is this last song right before the 7-minute drill song. This last song, Trade of Truth in Ibiza. That song was probably my favorite song on the track. I really like how he talked about, this duality. I got a family to feed. I squeeze the clip, go to the judge and plead the fifth. I like that always, that bad people do good things. Good people can do bad things. That's not uncommon for a lot of rappers to do, to say that they have been in situations where they've had to do things that they are not necessarily proud of, but they still feel like good people. They still feel like wholesome people. J. Cole's always sort of defending that guy. So you see that more in this song, Trade of Truth in Ibiza. And there's one part in the song that was oddly prophetic. There were a couple parts